This is for those folks who want to do something, let go of something, and they're afraid. They're holding on to fear and worry that you won't do it well enough, or you won't look good doing it, or you'll fail, or someone will say something mean or judge you, or whatever. And as a result of this fear and all that comes with it, you've decided not to let go of it and do what you really want to do. So for example, this could be you wanting to find love, but being afraid to go back out there because you don't want to get hurt again, or you're afraid no one will be attracted to you or love you, or that what you want doesn't even exist, and why put yourself through all that? And so you've just decided that you don't even want to go there. Or it's you wanting to raise an issue inside of a relationship with a promise, but you don't want to rock the boat, or don't think you have the right to speak your piece or get what you need, or maybe you don't even know how to initiate the conversation. And you know what? That's okay, because it kind of takes you off the hook, right? And after all, you can certainly learn to live with anything. Better than taking a risk. No, safety first, always. But not doing something because you're afraid isn't just relegated to matters of love, right? I mean, it could also be you deciding that you want to change careers, or go for that promotion, or take a big leap and go out on your own, and then realizing that maybe you don't have the right credentials, or you can't possibly get the job or clients you really want, or you're struggling with imposter syndrome, or you're just thinking in general that you better just stay where you are because it's risk-free. And what's wrong with that? Besides, you're klutzy, which means that you'll never get the gig as head ballerina or whatever it is. Crazy to even try for it. Better to just stay put. It could be you giving up a beach vacation, even if it's all expenses paid. Seriously, because damn it, you are not putting on that bathing suit because, you're too fat, or you're too thin, or you're too old, or you're too hairy, or you have cellulite, or you have an old bathing suit that is definitely not in vogue, and people will weigh in, and you don't feel like dealing with it. Or you don't have a bathing suit at all, at least not one that fits, and you're not going shopping for one. No, thank you. You would rather vacation in the tundra than go through all of that. So you just stay home. You don't even put your feet in the pool because that will still require some semblance of skin bearing, and you're just not going to go there. You don't have time to shave your legs, and then the tub, it's a thing. Look, we all have fears, usually attached to a limiting belief or several. And so when I talk about letting go, I don't want you to think I'm so Pollyanna as to believe that we can let go of all of them. Some of these fears are so deeply embedded inside of us that yes, we may grapple with them for most, if not all of our lives. And I know for me, I'll probably always struggle with certain issues as they relate to all of the above. The question then becoming not how do we let go of the fear entirely, but how do we let go of it just enough to live with it so it doesn't stop us from doing things we love or don't know we love because we refuse to even try? How do we let go of our fears just enough so they don't stand between us and the life that we want most? And the answer is that we embrace the idea of awareness, because sometimes awareness is enough. Now, I'm going to tell you something personal, something that only my dear friend and TEDx speaker coach know, which is that when I started on my journey to get on the TEDx stage, she helped to ground me on what it took to be successful there. And her first question to me as we started our work together was, what's your greatest fear about giving a TED Talk? Now, I had no issues with getting on that stage. I couldn't wait. My desire to spread the message about letting go, a no-brainer. I was full on in then, and I am now. And those things felt super right. But you know what didn't? And what my answer to her was? You won't believe it. So silly now, sort of, looking back. My answer to her about her question about my greatest fear was that I was worried that people would think I was fat. That's it. And you know how she responded? She laughed for 10 minutes. And then she said, enough of that, let's go. The thing is, in my earlier years, when I wasn't as big, wild, loving as I am now, I might have let the idea of how I looked stop me from engaging in that once in a lifetime experience. But by my coach making it a non-issue and my being uber aware of my own issues, I was able to let it go, to put it aside in that moment to do what I really wanted to do, which was not only get on that stage, but crush it and love every second along the way. even though I won't lie, I did have to talk to myself before getting out there to remind myself that I am more than the sum total in the size of my butt, and go through the 6 steps of my letting go process, which has awareness as a through line and can be applied to releasing virtually every single thing that's standing between you and what you want most. Look, fear is part of the human experience. There is just no way to avoid it. And in many cases, we don't want to. We want fear so that we don't make the same mistakes over and over and touch that same hot stove or run alone in the park at 3 a.m. or take time or anything else for granted. But we don't need the kind of unproductive fear that comes from our limiting beliefs, that prevents us from embracing our own potential and robs us of wonderful experiences. And so if you find yourself there afraid to let go of something in your life that's not giving you what you want, but you're scared to take that big leap, or what will happen if you do, here are 3 ways to push through it. First, ask yourself, how will you feel if you let fear keep you where you know you no longer want to be? Will allowing that fear to keep you stuck have you look back at your life with regret, or cause you unnecessary angst right now in the moment? And is it worth it? 2, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Play the fear out. If you're afraid to look fat on stage, for example, well, then what? Someone thinks you look fat, and then what? They leave a bad comment, and then what? Or you're afraid to say what you think in relationship, and then what? As you take yourself through that exercise, what you'll learn is that what ultimately happens isn't as bad or as true as you anticipated. And third, embrace the idea that you don't have to get rid of the fear altogether to enjoy a life that brings you joy and fulfillment. It is possible for fear and satisfaction to coexist. It just needs to be managed. And that could be you talking to that fear in the mirror or journaling, saying, you know what, I'm gonna give that talk right now. So you fear, you just stay right here and don't worry. I'll be back for you later. And then going about your business, giving yourself permission the same way my coach gave me to make fear a non-issue, at least temporarily. Lastly, give yourself some grace. Pushing past your fear is a process that takes time, one that starts with an epiphany that tells you this fear may be yours to keep, and then ends with you being okay with it, letting that epiphany inspire you to a little bit of peace. I can't tell you how much time I spent in the lead up to my talk journaling around my fear, power posing before getting on that stage, reminding myself that I am worthy and powerful and all the things I needed to rise to that moment. And almost 4 million views later, here we are. It's about being afraid and doing it anyway, not letting fear hold us back from what's truly meant for us. Besides, research shows that 90% of what we're afraid of never happens anyway. I am so glad I pushed through my fear on one of those biggest days of my life. I cannot imagine going through my life without having had that tremendous experience of giving that talk, being the 23rd speaker out of 25, sweaty and makeup caked on my face and bloated after drinking 1,000 diet sodas after 7,000 hours of feeling anxious and like, let's do this already. During which I not only made lifelong friends and mentors, but proved something incredibly valuable to myself, that it's okay to be afraid. We just can't let it get in the way of the show going on. And that show is our lives. So there you have it. Let me know what your greatest fear is and how you'll let it go, either entirely or just enough so it's not in your way.